Afternoon, everyone. I know people are jumping in, and we are doing this webinar style, so it's going to be a little difficult for me to see, but I have a very strict schedule. So, with everyone having 10 minutes, we're going to get rolling. We're recording for people that are still jumping on, and we'll be able to send this out. But thank you all so much for being on. Thank you for supporting my recent book launch. Thank you for helping me be a USA Today bestseller. And I am so thrilled to start with one of my favorite people, Lauren Lucas. She is, Lauren, I don't know if this is right, but I tell everyone that you are like the only AI expert that they need to listen to. So sorry to all the other people that everyone is, but you have just done such a great job. And I'm so appreciative for you to be on. And I know 10 minutes is quick, but let's
Yes.
go. So if our friends want to be more intentional with using AI, whether they are at the one end of the spectrum or like they're Lauren, let's 10 minutes of your best tips for them, pretty please, and thank you and welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hey, I'm not going to turn down the only one about AI, but I'm certainly not the only one about AI. But yeah, to get more intentional with AI, I think the thing that people are missing the most is they get so overwhelmed in having to know how to use it. The biggest thing is you don't have to be techie at all. You just have to be curious. And if you don't know what AI can do for you, you could just ask AI, hey, this is who I am. This is who I serve. I have no idea what you can do for me, and it will break down every little thing that it can do for you. And I think that that's where a lot of people get paralyzed, is that they get so overwhelmed. It's almost like an analysis paralysis. So if you do nothing else, just go use your favorite large language model, ChatGPT, Gemini, and just tell it who you are. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can train it on your KPA, your DISC test, your five love languages. You can train it on how you speak and talk. You can even upload your documents. So give it examples of how you write an email or a blog or a newsletter. But just getting curious to see what it can do for you is going to be a huge unlock, because there are a lot of things that people aren't even aware of. And until you actually know what it's capable of doing, you're not utilizing it to the best extent. And so I think that a lot of us too, whether that's writing a listing description or writing an email, which is where a lot of agents probably are, and that's okay. But while you're in that same chat thread, tell it, now write a Facebook post, now write a LinkedIn post, now write a blog post, a newsletter, whatever that is, and just keep the conversation going and ask it more questions and allow it to ask you questions. So Dana, if you're talking to it and it doesn't quite get clarity on what it is that you want, it's going to go predict and anticipate what it is you want. But by telling it, ask me questions one by one if you need more clarity, then you're working together to get the exact output that you want, because the inputs that we're giving it are equivalent to the outputs we're going to get. And I think too, the next thing would be to not just use AI as a tool. A lot of people are using it to get information, and that's totally fine. But if we use it as a system within our business, right? We're telling ChatGPT or Gemini exactly who we want them to be. Give it a specific role that you want it to step into. Give it specific tasks that you want it to do for you. Give it a little bit of context. Is there a step-by-step process? Is there a goal outcome? Are we doing things for specific formats? So a LinkedIn post is going to be much different than a Facebook post, and it knows the differences. Give it a little bit of constraints too. So for example, in real estate, I see so many amazing agents who spend so much time, energy, and effort making amazing content. The problem is that we're talking over a lot of our consumers. So we can even tell it constraints like don't use any real estate jargon. That way it's not using PMI and HOA and ARV and things that they just don't understand. We could even tell it to break it down so a fifth grader could understand it, because there's a lot of people who their reading level is, much lower. The average of US right now is like fifth grade. So we are making this amazing content, but we're just not meeting our consumer where they're at. So it's not landing. So it's not converting. So we can use AI to figure out what our clients need. What are their pain points? What's keeping them up at night? And then start to create that content that they can understand, specifically solving. So for example, if I'm working with a first-time home buyer and I tell AI, because I just told it who I am and what I do, right? And I tell it, I want to work with first-time home buyers this year. It's going to tell me they're afraid to make a mistake. They're not sure what the process is. They don't know how to save for down payment. They don't know what their credit score needs to be. And so we use AI as a system to make our content better. And then each time we do use AI, we just start to stack these things together. So the stacking of a tool doing something versus a system working for us, that's where we're going to start to our time back. That's where we're going to start to be able to scale our business if we want to and not have to be the bottleneck in our business. But you don't have to eat the whole elephant in a weekend,
Mm.
right? Just take 1 hour a day. That's it. 1 hour a day for 90 days and just ask it and get curious and learn. And your business will be completely different in 3 months.
Lauren, okay, this is so good. And I actually had a question around this. Are you seeing more people using AI to answer their daily questions than say they're just going to Google? Like, for instance, if they're going to Atlanta this weekend, if they're saying, find me the three best places to eat, like, aren't they going to AI over just Googling that stuff now?
Absolutely. And here's the thing is we're so used to using Google. It's been around for 27 years. We've been asking it questions for almost 3 decades. The problem is that a lot of people are so used to using Google. And so when we ask Google a question, it gives us, 20 to 30 different links that then we have to click and go find more links. And then we go down this rabbit hole and it's a manual process. Whereas if we train AI to understand and think with us, it's our thought partner.
Ooh,
If we
that's
tell
good.
it, I'm going to Atlanta, I like sushi, pizza, and Italian. I've got 10 people in my party, and this is my calendar. Go find me reservations, book the reservations, put it on my calendar, and send calendar invites to Dana and all of our friends. It will do that for you.
Yeah. See, it's little things like that that I think now we spend so much time doing
Yeah.
ourselves that, I mean, what leverage? It's almost like, you keep hearing people say, and I would love your thoughts on this. You keep hearing people say AI is going to be replacing all of these industries or all of these jobs or all of these things. But I almost think they're not thinking about it in the way of just using it as a leverage. But what are your thoughts on that?
Totally. I think AI is not, in and of itself, yes, it will replace some jobs in some industries. I am
Mhm.
not fearful that it's going to replace us in our industry at all. But
Right.
what's going to happen is the agents who are learning the skills and adapting and pivoting their businesses
Mhm.
behind AI, they're the ones who are going to replace the agents who aren't evolving because they're
Mm.
going to be able to do more in less time and take more market share. Now,
Mhm.
in my personal opinion, it doesn't even have to replace our executive assistants, our director of operations, our editors, even. Learn or teach them the skills so my editor can now 10x what he's able to do or she's able to do. My director of ops can now 10x what they're able to do. And so what happens is you just teach the skills, keep your people, and just, I mean, it just makes it much more efficient for everybody. But I think that there's another side to this is, when social media came about, a lot of people were like, oh, it's going to take the videographer's job and the photographer's job. And there's more jobs that have been created, content creators, social media managers, all these different things that weren't jobs 10 years ago. So I think we're going to see the same thing with AI. It's gonna be, a little scary in the beginning, but once we kind of get over the hype and over the hump of this is just the new normal for us, we're going to see it level out. We're going to see a lot more jobs coming in because there's just, especially in our industry, we're relationship builders. AI can't do what we do, but it can do the tedious and mundane things that we don't necessarily need to do anymore.
Yeah, so good. Okay, so I know we have 1 minute left. So this is, gosh, I wish I could have made this all day. So being curious, don't have to be techie, just be curious. I love what you said. Give it a role and tasks and context. And then it's our thought partner. That is so good. I mean,
Yeah.
I think I use it the most to help with email writing, probably, or
Well,
responses.
yeah, and here's the thing is a lot of people are going to be skeptical to use it in your business. So if you
Yeah.
do nothing else, just start with your refrigerator. Take a picture, here are all the brands that I like, and then here is what's missing, go make my grocery list, go to Instacart and order it. Just start
Yeah.
there. If you're skeptical to use it in your business, start with your life. But just get curious enough to start to ask it questions of how can I do this better? How can I make this more streamlined? What am I missing? What am I avoiding? Whatever it is that you need within your life, and it's going to help you become more efficient.
Yeah. Okay. And then last thing, real quick, what are your main? I mean, obviously, Chat GPT. I know you mentioned before we started Notebook LM a lot. Um, Anything else that you? is a
Yeah,
must?
so I would say for efficiency, Notebook LM is a must, and Google's AI Studio is a must. For
Oh.
lead generation, I would say the one you really truly could get away with it as your only one is called ManyChat. So with those three, uh, Google's AI Studio free, Notebook LM free, ManyChat free, unless you want to upgrade $15.
Shoot. Okay. One question. We have one last one. This is from Kelly. She said,
Yeah.
I use Chat GPT for data analysis and life assistance, meal planning, travel, and Claude and Canva to build websites and content. What framework have you found to be the best for building prompts? And do you recommend using AI to help build better prompts?
Yes, absolutely. And anything that you're doing, you can have AI build it. If you go to ChatGPT on the left-hand side, click Explore GPTs. If you type my name into the search, there's about a dozen that I give you for free. There's one that is actually a prompt builder. So you can go find that and use that to help you build your prompts while you're learning how to prompt. You could tell
Oh,
it,
I love that, Lauren. Okay.
I'm building on Claude, I'm building on WordPress, I'm building on whatever it is you're building on. Write the prompt for me, copy paste.
Ah, so good. Okay, so explore ChatGPT, search Lauren Lucas for free frameworks, and we will send this out in our follow-up email too. Ah, okay. Well, thank you so much, my friend. You are the best. I appreciate you so much. I'll see you in Atlanta in 2 days.
Congratulations. Have fun, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much. So good. Great job. Thank you, Kelly. Absolutely. Okay, rolling right on. This is so fun. This is like speed dating. Okay. Next up, we have one of my dear friends, Chad Johnson. Oh my gosh, Chad already knows. I could talk 10 minutes about how much I love Chad, but I'm not because he needs the time. Chad has been with Maxwell Leadership for as long as he's been alive.
Pretty
Basically,
much. Thank you. You're making me feel young, Dana. Thank you. Thank you. I need that right now. I need that.
and many of you are familiar with the group I'm a part of, High Capacity Leadership. That community is founded by Chad. And so I wanted Chad to come on today. He is one of the most intentional people I know about building communities and relationships. So, Chad, thank you so much. And
That's
let's go.
such an honor, Dana. And I'm taking notes from Lauren here. I'm gonna up level
We
my
need to have
AI
Lauren to
now.
HCL. She's so good.
I need her. I already got a plan for her life, so let's
Yeah,
talk about it. So I got a date. Actually, I need to run by her to see if she's available. She can
love
come to
it.
Bolt Farm Treehouse with me and pretty soon. So Dana, you're the best. What an incredible event that you're hosting. I just looking at the lineup of the speakers and all the value you're adding. I love that you're doing these quick hits, and so I'm
Yeah.
going to be as efficient and hopefully as effective as I possibly can be to honor the schedule you put in place. But Dana, if there's somebody that's a sister to intentionality, it's you. And I mean that. And I've benefited from that. And I think everybody on this call can attest to it as well. Dana's the real deal on intentionality and developing deep rooted relationships. And I've been a byproduct of that. I texted Dana the other day. I said, I still wear a t shirt you gave me that has all these words on it that really proclaim identity over me, honestly, like these words of truth of like, this is who you are as a leader. And it's those little touch points that just go such a long way. And I'll talk a little bit about that. But so good to be joined with you guys today. Hopefully, going to add a little value here and some quick hits. Dana asked me to really talk on intentionality, building of communities, as well as just how do you develop great relationships. This is the lifeblood to what I believe is a successful life, but I also believe what is a significant life. If you want to really invest in people, and invest in how do you add value to people. It's the front runner for what we've done in Maxwell's world with John Maxwell. And it's really how I've built my last 20 plus years and in starting to see a compounding benefit from it. And so I want to start with this framework that John actually Maxwell, if you know John Maxwell, he received this from his dad. And if I was to sum up what's the greatest 3 points that you could do to really grow your relational equity in the time ahead and that you can do right now? It's these three things. It's first, value people. Secondly, believe in people. Thirdly, unconditionally love people. If you can do that over the rest of your life, and you can start that right now, my little 7-year-old daughter can start that right now. If I can embed that into her posture and her heart of how she lives her life. And let me break those down a little bit for you. The first is value people. And I'm going to be very tactical and practical. Dana knows I'm cookies on a lower shelf. I'm like John. This is not fluff. This is stuff that you can go apply right now. And I'm going to give you some examples. But first, and this is simple, guys, but we don't do it well often enough. But how do you physically show up? What do I mean by that? Your eye contact. Simple things. Is your phone on the table when you're at meetings with people? Like, put it aside. Like, are you showing respect? Are you leaning in with eye contact? Is there a smile that is contagious? Dana, you have this, you carry this. Like, are you showing up with that smile, that joy inside of you, no matter what you're going through? You're there to show up for the best version of yourself to this person and model that. The embrace, the handshake. Dana, you're a hugger, I'm a hugger. So maybe it's a firm handshake for those that aren't huggers, but like looking them in the eye and the handshake. I mean, we teach this to kids growing up in high school, right? It's the class you take that just learn how to engage with other human beings. But really what it sums up to is, do people feel seen when they come into contact with you? How do you answer that question in every engagement? If you look at your calendar today, people you're meeting in person, are you going to show up in such a way that people feel seen? Let me give you an example. As early as last night, I hosted 100 top leaders in Franklin, Tennessee for the pre-screening of the movie I Can Only Imagine 2. By the way, I have no stock in that movie. Go see it. It just releases today in 3,000 theaters. It's going to be all over this weekend. It is such an incredible faith-filled movie, but really on the relationship between a father and a son. So if you're a father out there, go see it. I promise you, it's a game changer. Well, Patrick Lencioni, he's a famous leadership guy. He was there with his wife last night because we attracted 100 leaders from across the Franklin area, and he came to my pre-screening of this movie. We bought out the theater, my wife and I, which is another conversation for another day of just this spirit of generosity. I know, Dana, that you model. But what I did 2 weeks prior to is I hosted a smaller gathering, and Pat couldn't come, but his son, Matt Lencioni, could come. And he had just moved here from California. With 2 weeks into being in Franklin, I've only been here for 2 months. But what Pat told me last night when he was at the pre-screen, he said, Chad, the way you engaged with my son, I engaged with him for literally probably 30 to 60 seconds. He said, the way you engaged with my son when you met him 2 weeks ago, you made him feel so seen. And I had to reflect back. I'm like, what did I do? I'm like, I looked at him in the face. I contacted him. And here's the other thing. I asked great questions, right? Quick questions. Dana, you know this so well. We can, within seconds, within minutes, we can get to know someone and find common ground if we ask the right questions. This is that spirit of curiosity that Lauren hit a little bit on in the previous session. And this goes like, so how do you physically show up? Well, how do you verbally show up, right? I physically showed up well to Matt in this example. I verbally showed up because I asked him questions. Where are you coming in from? How long have you been here? Oh, this is your wife. How long have you been married for? Okay. And then here are the two greatest questions, and I use this a lot in our high capacity leader gatherings, that really set the tone for going deep with someone quickly. And the two questions are, what is your current greatest challenge? You know what that does? That drops down the facade. That says, no, I'm going to go deep here with you, and I'm going to engage you on what are you currently challenged by. That may be a personal issue. It may be a loss. It may be a professional issue with a team or a company or a failed business that you're navigating through. But if you really say, I want to know what is your current greatest challenge, I'm going to ask a follow-up question to that in just a second of how to engage that. But then the second question is, what are you most excited about? That then turns the conversation to a positive one. That's where you have an opportunity to say, okay, I want to find a way to champion this. Like, this is good. You're excited about this? Okay. I want to help you. I want to be excited about it as well for you and what's ahead. And then, so how do you physically show up? How do you verbally show up? Those are two practical, simple ways. There's a list of 7 other questions that John Maxwell asked for every Lunch and Learn that are foundational for the rest of your life. Maybe we can get those to you at some other point.
They're in my book. They're on day 26.
They're in Dana's book. So there you go.
Yeah,
if you have the book, or go get the book if you don't, but you should have it already if you're on this virtual session anyways. How do you lead? The third is, how do you lead with adding value? So now we're moving to you've shown up physically, you've shown up verbally. Now how do we add value, right? And so that's a heart posture. That is a heart posture that I want more for you than I want from you. That is how we should show up every day if we want high trust, great relationships. That should be the posture and the lead in of our heart. We want to serve, Dana, more than we want to be served, right? Like that's a head shift and a heart shift. Like that's a heart shift at the core. Are you really showing up to where you want more for them than from you, and that you want to serve instead of being served? And then, as a follow up to those two questions I ask, then you begin going into how am I adding value? For the first question, what's your current greatest challenge? Now I'm going to go into how can I help you solve that greatest challenge? And then also the question of what are you most excited about? How can I help fan the flame of what you are most excited about? Tactical and practical here.
Chad,
This is where we go.
talk about really showing somebody that you care for them. How can you fan the flame for what they're excited about? To me, it's like all time one of my favorite questions.
So and I love it. And you're there with me. So here's where I'm going. So a couple practical ways. Like, for example, is like you should know this person, right? Who do you know that I should know? Okay. Because of that greatest challenge, because of what you're most excited about, you need to be in touch with this person. I'm going to be tactical and practical here too. Again, what podcast should you listen to? What book should you be reading that I'm reading? Dana's book, Restore, obviously. You should go to this event or to this gathering. Like you need to be in the room with these people. These are your people. Dana, you do that so well with all things high capacity. Like you need to be in this environment. It's that borrowed belief, right? But here's what and then how do you impart that? Like here's what I have learned. Here's the wisdom I've gained from this current challenge or what you're most excited about that may be helpful to you. And this is the next step that you're talking about here, Dana. How do we move this to action? How do we actually activate on what we have just received as information from this person? And here's what we need to do on the backside that we don't take the time in the busy schedules that we're in right now. There needs to be a spirit of pause, and then a spirit of reflection, and then a spirit of intentionality. And this really goes back to how do I help them with the challenge or what they're most excited about based on the reflection. And then we move to this model of do it now. Don't wait. Do it now. John talks about this too. He's like, when he was really learning how to move to priorities to get things done, every morning he woke up and he'd say, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. And every time before he went to bed at night, he said, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. We get so caught up in the day to day that we just don't do it. And we don't create the time to pause and reflect. Let me give you an example. Cody Foster, a friend of ours and high capacity leaders, leads a 1,200 person company out of Topeka, Kansas for Advisors Excel. He was just here yesterday, flew in to spend time with me. We're going to create this incredible gathering for advisors, faith-driven advisors that I can't wait to share more with you about as well, Dana, in this community. But God gave me the word this year of deep waters. And there's more behind that deals with my faith. I'm not going to project that on you here, but it's really deep waters inside of relationships too, and being intentional in this regards. And one of the questions that came up yesterday was, what's the things that have impacted you the most as far as scripture? Like, what's the scripture that you're chewing on right now? And we all went around the table and popcorn scripture once that my daughter and I are going through together, which is, simple, like above all else, guard your heart for it's the wellspring of life. And then it dawned on me, one of Chad's favorite things, like what are the favorite things in your life that have impacted you, that have created transformation? Those can become resources and gifts that you need to pay attention to in the moments of reflection and pausing that can be an intentional gift. So it dawned on me, with Deep Waters for me this year, I went out and bought a brand new leather brown Bible, and I got this like more rooted Bible that actually has a little bit deeper knowledge behind it inside of scriptures and the original text of scriptures. And so that's been a huge Chad's favorite things this year that goes on with my words of the year. And I was like, well, we just hit on scriptures. These guys are passionate about that. They want to be in the word. They want to be rooted. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to activate on this. I did my pause, reflection, intentional gift. What's Chad's favorite things? I'm going to go send them 3 of these customized Bibles. It's $120 per Bible, but these 3 guys that were in the room are like, they need that Bible. Like
So
that
good.
gift will be something that is personalized to how I feel like I can help them solve their problems of what's going to really keep them rooted and exposed. And then I would say another very, very underutilized hack in relationship building is voice memos. Dana,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know this. Like,
Yep.
if you're not using voice memos, it's underutilized. Like, how are you sending people encouraging words or leveraging a voice memo from a conversation? I voice memo Cody from yesterday's meeting this morning. I said, here's what I loved about you showing up, your generosity to be here. He flew private here to be. I'm like, the expense that you put into doing that, but thanks for showing that you believe in me and this opportunity to do more great work together. Like, those are simple, quick touch points while you're in the car, voice memoing people, and that's so important on growing that relationship. So Dana,
Oh,
I need to pop
Chad,
on mute.
it's
So
so good. We have to go. We have to move on.
I know, sorry, I'm way over actually. So
It's okay. It's so good. I
Dana, I'm
knew
sorry.
10 minutes was going to be so hard. Man, this
Awesome.
is
Hey,
so
hopefully it added
good.
value. Thank you for the time.
You crushed it. Thank
So
you.
grateful for you
I'm
and
so
Adam both.
grateful for you. Thank you so
Great.
much. I'll see you in
We'll
Dallas
talk
in
soon. Sounds
three
good.
three
All right.
weeks. Thank you. Thank you. You all, this was gonna challenge me. I knew it was. Okay, Taylor Davis up next. Taylor, oh my gosh, my friend, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for all the support in the book. Taylor wrote me a wonderful endorsement. His book, Parable for the Republic, completely changed. It's actually one of the reasons why I wrote my book. So, Taylor, let's go. Tell us how to multiply our talents.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Taylor Davis, and Dana Gentry is one of my best friends in the whole world. After I wrote my book, I thought, I want to really help other people multiply their talents, just not in my book, but, when I engage with them. And so Dana was somebody that I knew that had a plethora of talents. And I was always pushing her and asking her, like, where's that book at? You got that book yet? You working on that book? I'm going to go ahead and connect you with a publisher and kept it going there. But I'm an investment advisor, business advisor, author of Parable for the Republic, speaker, coach, husband of my wife Alex, and daddy to our two kids, and also a part-time viral TikToker. Take it very, very seriously. So when Dana asked me to talk about multiplying talents, I was fired up because it's my obsession. It's what I talk about, think about every day. And I help people every day multiply their talents, whether it be in their financial life, their business life, their leadership, their marriage, their parenthood. It is everywhere that I look. The truth is there's no such thing as drifting into your destiny. There's no way to just drift into your destiny. You either intentionally step into a superior realm or you drift into decline. That's just a fact I have learned in life. And there's no more intentional person than Dana. I want to preface my talk here today about multiplying talents with the statement that really, two statements that really changed my life. And that is, everything we want is on the other side of the fear we're facing. The other one is, we limit how we live so we can limit the amount of anxiety we face. Hiring that person to grow the team creates anxiety because of payroll. And when we don't do it, we therefore limit how big we can live life in our business. So therefore, minimizing anxiety eliminates the possibility of maximizing our life. For a lot of people, talents aren't multiplied because of fear. You think Dana felt fear over multiplying her talents with Restore? You think she feared somebody saying, oh, it wasn't good, or wasn't long enough, or it wasn't well written, or it wasn't well edited? Of course she did. Every author thinks that. Every single author thinks that. But talent multipliers understand the most important expense: opportunity cost, the cost of not doing something. So let's get into it. We got 3 steps really here to multiply your talents today. Number 1 is take inventory of your talents. What are you objectively great at? What do other people tell you that you're great at? What do you know you're great at, but you don't let anybody else see? What are those things that you're really, really good at and you know it, but you don't let the world see? So for me, I knew I was a great storyteller. I knew I was a wordsmith. I'm always focused on language and better ways to say things and communicate with people. Knew I was a great speaker. Other people from the time I was a little boy would say, oh, you're a natural leader, you're a great storyteller, great speaker. Old folks call it oratory. That's what the old folks call it. But for most of us, those things just live unexpressed. They live buried. So you got to identify, what are the talents that I have that are not expressed? They're buried. Number 2 is intentionally identify the source of your obstacles. What's keeping you from unleashing your hidden talent? What we like to do is say it's an external thing. I can't multiply my talents because somebody will be offended. I can't multiply my talents because it might make me look like a try hard. It might make me look like I'm trying too hard, which might make me uncool to my friend group. Might need a new friend group. So my obstacle was grief and rage and fear. I had grief from a death. I had rage over the fact that the person who passed would not get to see me be successful. And it really bothered me for a long, long time. And I had fear of, can I handle being a public person? Can I handle being a public speaker? Can I handle being an author? And I would ask myself, like, can I handle public scrutiny of a book? Can I handle nasty comments from my social media posts about faith and family and taking a biblical take on things instead of a partisan one? Then we come to number 3. This is how you get through those internal obstacles. Intentionally identify the opportunity cost of not multiplying your talents. Opportunity cost freaks me out. Opportunity cost keeps me up at night. What is the cost of not doing something? So you got to ask yourself, like, if I don't multiply my talents, yeah, I'm safe from rejection. I'm so safe from rejection. You can't get rejected if you don't put it out there. But I'm guaranteeing less impact than God called me to deliver. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't want to be laying there on my deathbed one day thinking I have a lot left in the tank and I just let it go. If I don't multiply my talents, I'm safe from upsetting soft people, but I'm robbing someone in need from hearing the message God put me here to deliver. I got to talk to myself about that every time I post a video online. I know somebody's going to be upset about this, not because they hate what I'm saying, but they probably hate themselves. But I'm looking for the one. I'm looking for the one that sends me that DM privately that says, "This helped me so much. This gave me confidence. This helped me change." If I don't multiply my talents, I'm safe from the judgment of the crowd, but I'm guaranteeing not getting that cold email from someone who says, "You changed my life." That's the cost of not doing something. If I don't multiply my talents, I'm safe from looking like a tryhard to my complacent circle, but I'm guaranteeing my children will not have the life that I could really give them. You have to consider the opportunity costs. I wrote Parable for the Republic because I became obsessed with the parable of talents. I think it applies to every facet of life, financial, business, family, faith, everything. And the parable teaches us that he who buries his talent will have it taken from him. The third servant in the parable, y'all need to read it. The third servant in the parable thought he was keeping his talent safe by burying it. It wasn't safe at all. What Jesus taught us was that he wasn't keeping it safe at all. He was guaranteeing it couldn't grow, guaranteeing that it could not grow. And we find that that's a condemnable offense. What happened to the third servant? He was cast in the darkness. So I don't live out of fear of the crowd anymore. I don't live out of fear of the crowd. I live totally in the fear of not multiplying and exhausting my talents, the risk of not multiplying my talents, not putting money to work, not investing in people, not giving that speech, not calling that big cold call that's scary. Worst thing to do is say no. But the best could be, I'm so glad you called. I've just been thinking about that. I've just been working on that. I would love to meet with you all. So when I grow my investment business and everyone is saying, go to cash, CNBC, it's on this TV over here all the time. When they're saying, oh, go to cash, we multiply our talents. That's paid off for us very, very well, big time. When I go to post one of my social media videos, I know somebody's going to comment something hateful, threatening, whatever, but I talk to myself. I go to myself and say, but one person might hear the gospel for the first time in this stupid algorithm that's full of frivolous things. There might be one person it reaches, and I don't want to be cast in the darkness.
Taylor, oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so sorry. We have to bring Linda on. However, Linda just texted me and said, "Can you give me the recording of this? because he is so good.
Thanks,
So,
Linda. I think the same of you.
so I definitely got to do that. Taylor, I got to say, the way that you are so bold is so inspiring to me. And I just want to say thank you for living that way. My favorite thing you said, everything was great. My favorite thing was you live in the fear of not multiplying your talents instead of in the fear of what everybody else is going to think or what everybody else is going to do. And you're so impressive. Yes, Shonda actually just said that. Okay, we're on the same page. You all, I don't say this about everyone's book. Taylor's book changed my life, and it really was a catalyst in me writing Restore. So I dropped the link in the chat. Please go buy his book if you don't already have it. Follow him on Instagram or TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, so Taylor, will you drop it in the chat so they know how to find you?
Yeah, I'm at JT Davis everywhere.
Okay, perfect.
I
Same
lock
thing.
that down.
Lockdown. Okay, I love it. I'm so appreciative of you and Alex. Thank you all so much for all your support and your friendship and for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, now we'll pretend like we're recording a podcast. Next up, you all know her and love her, Linda McKissick. Welcome.
Well, first of all, I took so many notes myself. And here's the thing, I could just say ditto to everything he said about wealth building, but I'll add what I can. So that was
Okay,
awesome.
let's go.
All right. So here's the reality. I would bet every one of you have at least thought sometime in your life, I need to either start investing or I am investing and I need to invest even more. And for some reason, I think because the reward of wealth building is so far in our future that we have not created the urgency that we need to put it at the top of our list. Because when things are at the top of our list, we take action on them. But as long as we don't, and by the way, you got to create that urgency, and it gets created two ways. One is a push, meaning life happens to you gradually, and then suddenly something wakes you up. For us, it was the $600,000 in debt was a wake-up call that we needed to do things differently, and that the difference was we were building cash flow, we were not building wealth, right? So that's called a push, and you can wait for that, and it will happen. If you live long enough, life will give you a push, meaning something will happen and you'll go, gosh, I wish I had already been building wealth, or I didn't realize how important wealth building was. The second is a pull, and I would prefer to do a pull, meaning I put a future vision of myself out into the world, and that pulls me to make the sense of urgency for wealth building move up the list so that every day I'm looking at what can I do to build that wealth. So here's a great example. Two ways we can do this. Number one, you can set a very impossible goal, one that scares the heck out of you, to even think, how would I pull this off? Maybe it's your first investment. Maybe it's you've got investments, but you need a whole lot more of them. Whatever that is, set it so big that you start panicking, thinking, I have no idea how to get there, because that sense of urgency will put your brain to work. And when your brain goes to work, it'll solve the problem that you've given it. We have to trust. You've probably already done that in your life where you wake up in the middle of the night with a solution to a problem that you've given it. I have a thing above my bed that says, go to sleep and give it to God. So I put it out there. God helps me come up with the answer by morning time, right? You either do that when you're walking, running, sleeping, in the shower, because God, Lord knows we don't take time to just sit around and think for 3 hours, how do I solve this problem? How do I solve what I have given my brain that I need to solve? So it's better to do it by pull, right? So one is that it's so big that it forces you to have a sense of urgency and scares you into the fact that you've got to find the way to get there. For us, when we invested our first time, we were $600,000 in debt. No bank's going to give us the money. Our credit was not looking pretty. But in the middle of the night, God gave me the answer that my builder would do it with us. So there is always an answer, and you got to be okay that you set the goal and the dream before you ever see the answer. Just trust that you'll get the answer. And then the other one is to whatever you're thinking about doing in your wealth building, shorten that timeline so short that it makes you panic. In other words, like when we did our goals, we said, hey, we want to buy 20 properties in 5 years. Here's the problem. If you set the goal at 5, maybe even 10 years, especially because most people say, well, I want to have this many properties or this much wealth by this many years. It's too far out. We're not going to do anything about it today. and we need to be doing something about it today. So shorten your timeline to the point where it feels absolutely impossible to do. That's going to create an urgency and move the priority of wealth building to the top of your list. If we don't do that, we're all going to keep chasing what I call walking over dollars to get to dimes. We're going to keep going after the cash flow in our business. And when life gives us some kind of change, and the one guarantee in life is there will be change, then we have to be prepared as best we can for that change. And I love what my friend John Addison says: if you got a problem and money can fix it, ain't no problem, right? So all you're doing by building wealth is several things. One, you're putting a moat around what you've worked so hard to build. Number two, you are preparing for when people in your life have situations that you can step into those gaps, and you're giving yourself options you may not even know that you need later on. So here's the reality about both of them. Both of these take courage. Both of them. I wouldn't trade the push we got to learn about wealth building and to do wealth building for anything in the world. But would I want to go through it again? Heavens no. I would not. It was not fun. It was not comfortable. But it taught us a lot, right? But I can today decide that I'm going to make a goal so big around wealth building that I get a sense of urgency to move it to the top of my list, because the only difference between people who are building wealth and people who wait to build wealth is they put it as a priority and they put it at the top of their list to do. That's the only difference. The money is not the problem. I always say the properties, finding the properties are not the problem if it's real estate investing you want to do. And there is something about every time you take a step in courage, you develop new confidence and new credentials that make a whole new world of opportunities open up to your eyesight that you couldn't see before. But you're not going to be able to see them until you have faith and you step into that one, and then that one leads to others. I just did a call just before this about wealth building, and all the many steps that we've turned into all came from taking a step that we had no clue, no confidence that we even could pull it off. But we just had faith that if we would do our part, God would do the rest to deliver us there. So I think if you really understand, I love what Taylor said, because it's so true. We are so afraid of the anxiety and the being in that uncomfortable place of courage, but that's where the magic happens. And so if we can just figure out how to have faith, do the thing that takes the courage anyway, I promise you, in building wealth will become like second nature to you. But it's not going to happen until we decide we're going to wait for a push, or we're going to go ahead and put that pull in our life and keep putting that pull into our life by making big impossible goals that really terrify us to think, I have no idea how to do this. Even if you have no idea because the answers are out there. If you want to know about investing, read the books, ask the people. The answers are out there. People have already done it. The how is not what your real problem is. The how's what sticks us, but the truth is that's not our real issue. Our real issue is just having the courage to make the commitment. But once you make that commitment, the people will show up in your life, or you'll get so nervous about the commitment you made, you'll go find those people and you'll find the answers of the how. So forget about the how and just focus on who are you going to be if you accomplish that? Because I just read a study the other day about fear. And the thing about fear is it's much more of a motivator for us than we understand. So if you really played out your life, if I do nothing around wealth building, what does it look like in the next 10 years? What does it look like in the next 20? And just be honest, because all progress starts by telling the truth. And sometimes we don't tell the truth to ourselves about what is the cost that it's costing us to do nothing in this arena of wealth building. And we all know that life is changing so fast and it's getting faster and faster, but there's certain things that are not going to change. And we just have to make sure that we're willing to invest in those things, like where people live. AI isn't going to be able to fix that for anybody. And then how do we have the courage to put a wealth building goal so big? And I told the last group, here's the thing. You're doing it because you want a certain freedom number later so that you can be working because you want to, not because you have to. But here's the blessings that come that you aren't prepared for. A family member that you have to help pay for their medical or their their funeral, or a relative, you have to go ahead and pay their house off so that they can have a life estate rather than being homeless in their 80s. Those are the things that will show up in your life that if you've prepared by building wealth, you can step into those and it feels so much better than anything else you can do. Those are what I call priceless rewards for building wealth, and had no idea those were coming our way, but they were, right? And you've got some coming your way too. And so my question to you is, will you be prepared for whatever gets presented to you in the future because you were willing to do the work now and have the courage to make big impossible goals around wealth building? It's kind of like insider trading. We got an opportunity to invest in things that we truly understand and know, and most people don't get that opportunity.
Ah, Linda, so good. So good. Thank you so much. Y'all now see why I am forced to set all these big freaking goals, because I talk to Linda every day, and
Yep.
she got me this, which you see behind her. She's got hers. I've not got mine yet, but it's coming. So
Awesome. Hey, well, you know what? You keep working at it, Dana. I've got faith in you.
I know. You showed me it was possible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Go
You're
follow
welcome.
Linda. She has a big challenge coming up in March, and you guys are going to want to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Oh, two favorite people in a row. Next up, my husband.
Wow, this is quite the follow that I mean, following Linda,
Ah,
following Taylor. Oh my
I
goodness, this is
know. Okay, so Linda talked about money, and now Adam is going to talk about discipline, how to be
mm.
more disciplined. Everyone wants to be more disciplined, and he's the most disciplined person I know. So let's go.
Well, let's start this conversation here real quick. I know the clock is on. We got 10 minutes here, and discipline. What is discipline? I remember growing up, I was disciplined. I grew up a son of an Olympic swim coach, and the discipline for me was stop running on the pool deck. I had to jump in and swim 100 butterfly or whatever he made me do that time. That was the discipline that I grew up with. So as I grew up in the business world, it was like, all right, well, you got to become a disciplined person. So we need to look at the real true definition of that. And is it a punishment or is it a character trait? Right? That's what we have to really pay attention to as ourselves. And how ironic, Dana and I have our Bible app streaks that we go into. And today, Hebrew 12:11 went like this. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. And so I want to go into that today. I broke the word discipline down in an acronym for you guys. I live by acronyms. I love acronyms. My word of the year is heart. It's broken down into an acronym, but that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about discipline today. But I also want to give you a little bit of Gary Keller taught me one time. I think he told this to everybody, so it wasn't me personally. But I heard him say that if you see a disciplined person, there's really no such thing as discipline. It is someone who is really good at forming habits. And so I'm going to walk you through right now an acronym for the word discipline. And I want you to hear each one of these letters in a specific language around all of that. Is how do you build the best habits possible that serve you to whatever level you are looking to grow to, whether that's with wealth, whether that's through what Taylor was saying. I don't remember who was before me because I wasn't on here, but just think through this as I go through each one. So let's go to number one, the D. What does that D represent in the word discipline? You have to decide. You have to decide in advance. And what does that mean? I wrote down, if you don't decide how your time gets spent, time will spend itself. Right? Just like what Linda was talking about. If you don't have a budget, guess where those pennies go? Wherever the heck they want to. If you don't decide in advance where your time's going to go, your time will go wherever it wants to. If you're in the business space, if you're in the coaching space, whatever it is, your inbox will take your time. Your clients will take your time. You get to decide first in advance where that time goes. Here, this is fun. You've got to ignore the immediate. I'll say it again. The I is ignore the immediate. Urgency, you all, is loud. Hear this. Urgency is loud. That means we got to do it right now. We got to do it right now. There's a fire. I got to take care of a client. I got to do this. No. Important things, you all, are quiet. Sit with that for a second. Are you in this I space? Can you ignore the immediate because The quiet things are what the important things really are. You got to pay attention to this though. Let's go to S. This is a big one for me. Set non-negotiables. You've got to set non-negotiables in your world, in your life, because at the end of the day, if it's optional, here's what we know. If it's optional, it won't happen. If it's optional, it will not happen. If it's a non-negotiable, you can't negotiate with it, okay? I love to negotiate with myself. We all love to negotiate with ourselves. I'll walk by the kitchen sink. There could be dishes in there. I'll do them later. That's a negotiation. I love cookies. Dana fills. Hey, let's pause for a second. Dana loves candy jars. And I love that she loves antique candy jars. We have a running conversation in our house that she can have the candy jars, but she can't fill them up. And of course, she fills them up, right? The non-negotiable is I'm not supposed to eat them. And I work really hard not to eat them. Okay, let's keep going. Let's go to C. Choose consistency. Choose consistency. You don't need a great week. You need a repeatable one. I'll say it again. You don't need a great week. You need a repeatable week. A week that you can do over and over and over and get to a place where it's an unconscious competence that you don't have to think about doing it. I wake up every day at 5:05. It's just when I wake up. I don't set an alarm. I haven't set an alarm for 25 years. I wake up because that's consistency in my life, right? Okay, where are we at? We're with the next I. Initiate the first move. Initiate the first move. Don't wait for motivation here. If you think that motivation is going to get you to move, it's not sustainable, right? You have to be the one that will go first to get whatever it is going. Talk about what Linda said. Let me go back to some of my notes, but gosh, I couldn't type fast enough with Linda. Are you being pulled? Linda, I wrote down I wasn't being pulled. I was being pushed, right? I was being pushed when it came to that. But you've got to be the one that takes that action there first and go do it. Don't wait for motivation. Let's go to P. This is a big one. You guys have all heard this. Protect your calendar. The P is protect your calendar. If it's not blocked, it's not real. If it's not on your calendar, it's not real. I work out every single morning. I go for walks every single morning. It lives on my calendar. Adam, why do you need to put something on your calendar at 5 o'clock in the morning? Because it's on there. That's what I get to do. I protect that part of my calendar every single day. Let's go to the L. The L is live from identity. Live from identity. You're doing the work because of who you're becoming. I'll say it again. You're doing the work right now because of who you're becoming or who you're being called to become. And if you live from that identity versus your past conditioning, remember, we are individuals right here that are preconditioned from yesterday doing the same things. But if we're pulled to an identity of where we want to go, that's who we get to become. So live from that identity. I've got 3 letters left. I.
And you got 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm going real fast. Here we go. I'm doing really good, by the way. Okay, I is inspect it. Inspect it. Inspect it looks like this. Write this down, y'all. Hope is not a KPI. Hope is not a KPI. You can't measure hope, right? Review your habits. What habits are you doing to inspect that you are moving in the right direction? In, last 2 letters. Normalize. Now, a coach used to tell me this, but I changed the words. He used to say normalize the pain, but I'm going to say normalize the effort, right? Normalize the effort. It's not going to feel good every day. It's not going to feel good every day. I love to lead generate. There are certain days that I don't want to lead generate. Why? Because I probably got beat up too much the day before. So normalize the effort though. Last letter, honey, is earn the harvest, right? Earn the harvest.
That's
Peace
so
tomorrow
good.
is built by discipline today. And I want to say this last thing before I go. Discipline is not a punishment.
Mhm.
Discipline is not a punishment. It's preparation for the life you say you want to live. That's what discipline is.
Earn the harvest. Wow, that's my favorite thing that you said. Wait,
Good.
and then what you say? Discipline is, oh, not a punishment.
Discipline's not a punishment. It's preparation for the life you say you want to live.
Wow, so good. So good from the most disciplined person I know. Try having Linda McKissick as a mentor and Adam Roach as a husband, and y'all just fill me for one day on that. Thank you, honey. Love you. Love your buck in the background. Next up, oh my gosh, this is so fun. This is really like just so fun. Next up, oh gosh, just one of my favorite. And I have to intro Hannah Kit, you all, because I had Hannah come on to talk about intentionality and gift giving, because every time I'm around her, she has an amazing gift for me. Like, she is the best. Y'all, I showed up to speak at one of her women's events that she does, and she had when they were sold out, because there was a cottage cheese shortage in Charleston, South Carolina. And I showed up, and in my hotel, she had a Yeti cooler bag that I still use every day, my cottage cheese, all my Olipop vintage colas, like the best of the best. So I adore you so much. Hannah's one of my favorite friends. So special. Go for it. I'm taking up too much of your
You
time.
are so sweet.
Thank
I
you.
can't get the lens clean. I look like such an amateur. I'm sorry, y'all. But
No, you look great.
well, thank you for the intro. That was amazing. And a perfect segue. So yes, Dana asked me to get on here and talk about how to be an intentional gift giver. I'm going to keep it super simple, but there are 5 ways to become what I believe is an unforgettable gift giver. And it's kind of like luxury real estate. It's not a price point, you all. It's an experience. So it's not buying an expensive gift. Honestly, that Yeti was one of the more expensive things I've bought somebody. So hear me when I say your gifts don't have to be expensive. They have to be thoughtful. So the first thing I do, or first thing that has worked for me, is keeping notes in my phone. So if you go to my contact where it says Dana, it says Good Culture Cottage Cheese. Because at some point in a conversation with Dana, she told me that. I can't for the life of me remember all these things about all these people I care about. But to Chad Johnson's point, I want people to know I value them. And I do that through gift giving. It is such a simple way to make someone feel seen. So give someone something that they love. On Friday, I had a girlfriend move into a new house, and I know she loves protein because, y'all, she's a middle-aged woman. She's just dying every day to get enough protein. So rather than taking her a bottle of champagne, I stopped at Whole Foods. I bought a couple protein drinks and a protein bar, and I dropped it at her house. She texted me every day over the weekend to say, I'm enjoying this protein drink, or I'm enjoying this bar. It cost me like probably $38. Let's be honest. Groceries are more expensive. But it was easy and it was memorable. So again, just honestly, all this is selfish. I just give people what I want to get. So that's really the simplest way. But the first thing to do is keep what I call a noticing list. I keep a list of what I've noticed people in my life like, and that's in their contact card. I've got notes here. The next thing, oh God, this is my favorite. Give a gift that solves a quiet problem. My mom, years ago, I'll never forget, she had a friend whose mother passed away. And this was the oldest daughter. So, of course, everybody was coming to her house for the receiving, and all that. People were just filling her house with casseroles and God knows what, because we live in the South. My mom showed up with plates from Sam's Club, toilet paper, and paper towels. And to this day, that woman talks about how impactful that gift was, because it solved a quiet problem. That woman was not thinking about buying enough cutlery to serve the food that was inevitably showing up at her house. So solve a quiet problem. This is not to brag, but one of the things I did that cost me $0 was, a friend of mine had a 3rd child recently. And it was the 2nd or 3rd day they were home from the hospital. And she has a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old and a newborn. And I texted her and I said, hey, at 3:00, I'm going to come by and pick up your 2 oldest kids. And I didn't ask. I just said, I'm coming. And so I picked up the kids. I took them to the playground. We went to McDonald's, and I took them back to my house and bathed them and returned them to their parents at like 6:30. That was 3.5 hours of my day. The kids loved being out of the house, but it cost me no dollars. So solve a quiet problem, because y'all know, especially women, they're not asking for help. But put yourself in their shoes. What would you want? Okay, number 3. Don't write on the note, I hope you enjoy this. Write something purposeful. Dana's so good at this. But when you give a gift, whether it's a candle or I don't know what you choose, write on the note something like, This is for the woman who's leading her office and leading her home. Take a little care of yourself or whatever. But remind the person what the gift's for or what made you think of them. It's affirming their identity, whether they're giving their self permission to believe it or not. Like on the note, it could say, this is for the leader who carries everything for everyone. That is going to help them feel more seen than you could imagine. And it took you 6 seconds to write it. I also think stationery is a game changer. The quality, that's where you spend some money. Buy some nice personalized stationery, y'all. Okay, the fourth thing, the most memorable gifts are random. This is not a gift, but it's a perfect example. My mother sends our Christmas cards on Valentine's Day. Y'all, she does it because no one else is sending those beautiful family photos at Valentine's. She also started doing it because she didn't have her act together by the holidays. But you better believe my family is the only family being seen on Valentine's because my mom's the only one sending that card at Valentine's. It's not getting lost in a pile, a beautiful pile of everyone else's Christmas cards. So be random in when you give. The randomness, I think a gift on a Tuesday is so much more memorable than a birthday gift. And again, part of that's selfish because I'm probably not remembering your birthday. But if I see a book and I think of you, you better believe I'm shipping it to your house and it's going to arrive and you did not expect it. So it's the surprise and delight. I know a lot of you are in real estate. It's the same thing, but do that for your friends. That randomness, when someone gets something that's unexpected, it hits on a whole different level. And it's often the only thing they got that day. On their birthday, they got a lot of things, or at Christmas, they got a lot of things. So be random. And then the last thing, I don't know how we are on time, but be really specific with your gift. I have a girlfriend who is so fabulous and her colors, her wardrobe is so colorful. And recently I saw a book that had a fabulous woman on it, whatever. I bought that book and I put it on Misty's desk. And I said, every time I see this woman, I think of you. And I feel like you just need to own this book. Y'all, she cried when she got to work the next day because she's always coveted that woman. Iris Apfel, or I don't know, I'm saying her name wrong. She's phenomenal. But my friend reminds me of Iris. And so it tied it back to a memory Misty and I had in Paris because she was in such a colorful outfit. And then I gave her the book and she'd been wanting the book. I mean, God has his hand in all of this. Like every single gift it might be random or it might be, not super thought out, but it's not an accident. And so often when you give a random gift or a gift that ties something back to a memory, the person needs it more than you realize. Like when you think of somebody, I'm sure it's God putting some sort of signal to say, reach out to this person. And I think that's probably why Misty cried. She was seen that day and maybe she hadn't been for a while. I don't know. But there's so many ways to be really thoughtful in your gift giving without really spending much money at all. So that's that.
You are amazing. Oh, we are only 3 minutes behind now.
Yay, good.
On Josh and Katie Walters. I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for always having good culture, cottage cheese, and vintage cola olipop when I come to Asheville, North Carolina.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I'll see you soon this weekend.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, hi guys. Yay. Oh my gosh. I was like, are they on? Wait, you're muted. Wait. Are you muted? Uh-oh. Hold on. I can't hear you. Can you guys hear them? You can hear me? Shoot, I can't hear you though. Hold on. Heather, can you hear them?
No.
Okay. Hold on. They're working on it. Oh, Press McKissick. Wow, I'm so glad you're on. He said, have them check their mic output settings. Okay, next to audio, Katie and Josh, if you click the arrow next to audio where it says select a microphone, it probably should say like your iMac microphone or your MacBook or something. The little arrow next to audio. Thank goodness press is on. I would have had no idea. Yep, the little arrow next to audio. Then where it says,
Think are we good?
yes, there you are. Thank
All right,
you.
hold on, I gotta get off on this side.
All right, is that better? You got
Yes,
us?
we got it. Oh,
Come
thank
on.
you all so much. You all, oh my gosh. This is Josh and Katie Walters. They are some of our pastors at our church at Seacoast in Charleston. They are the marriage pastors. Is that right?
Yep.
Am I saying that right? And they're just fabulous people. So thank you all. I'm so appreciative of your time. I know you are highly scheduled individuals. Thank you for being here and teaching us how to be more intentional with our marriages.
Yes.
Go for it.
Listen, I was taking notes. I got a little like PTSD when I heard you chime in on Adam saying 2 minutes. I was like, I need Katie doing that with my sermons of like, hey, wrap it up.
I could only say that to Adam, not of any of the rest of y'all. Thank you.
This
Thank
has
you.
been so good. We're so excited to jump in. We have so much to share with you, but we want to quickly just tell you so much of the why of our marriage comes from our own personal story. Our love story is a miracle, an actual miracle of God's grace. We have 7 children. We've been married 23 years. But at year around 6 of our marriage, we went through a devastating crisis. There is a long, long story short of that. We wrote a book called New Marriage, Same Couple. We'd love for y'all to check out. And it kind of talks about the principles of what God taught us through that devastating time. But the long story short is I confessed to Josh an infidelity, an affair I was having. I thought it would stay between the two of us. And the church he was pastoring at fired him, let him go. We went into no man's land and truly saw God do a miracle in our life and marriage, but we learned so much through that time. So for the past 18 years, we've really been ministering out of the comfort God gave us in restoring us. And we've sat with so many couples. Well, also in that time, we started our own business, a nonprofit out of Togo, West Africa called Francis and Benedict. And we're working on another curriculum. We've authored a book and we've been under Adam's coaching. He's amazing. Cannot recommend that enough. But what we wanted to talk about to you today is we have sat with so many business leaders who would say that they're winning in their work, they're winning in business, but they're not winning in their marriage. And so this quick 10-minute talk is, you could call it the business of marriage, because we want to talk to you about 5 dashboards of health that you're very familiar with as business leaders that help you check in on the health of your business that we believe converts so well to your marriage, your most important relationship.
That's right. I want you to imagine if you ran your business the way that most people run their marriage. All right. No weekly check-ins, no clarity on culture, no performance metrics, no strategy, right? We're just rolling on vibes. Like, does it feel good? Is it working? Yet when marriages struggle, we say things like, well, we just grew apart, or we just lost connection, right? But at no point ever do you hear a CEO, when giving the postmortem of what happened to our company, say like, well, we just drifted apart, right? That's because drift only happens when you stop checking the dashboard. And here's the truth. Every marriage is operating on a dashboard. The biggest challenge is that most couples don't know which lights are blinking.
It's so true. So this covenant relationship is made to have all of our attention, affection, and gas. So the first one we want you to think about is your emotional cash flow. Many of you have heard that the amount of cash is the business that you have. You have to keep it as the engine that's running your business. Well, the same is true with your emotional cash flow. Think about this as your emotional intimacy and connection with each other. So you want to ask questions like, am I making enough deposits? Deposits are the things like affection, affirmation, attention, gratitude, openness, vulnerability. Josh and I have principle in our book called Confession Therapy that just helps you to stay emotionally intimate with each other. Whereas your withdrawals are things like criticism, sarcasm, distraction, being on your phone the minute you go to talk to someone. You want to check on your emotional cash flow in your marriage. Number 2.
I'm working on that. I make a lot of withdrawals. And so I heard you say that. And I was like, okay, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it yet again. Okay. The second dashboard is rhythm and systems health. Every thriving organization runs on system, and your marriage runs on systems. Systems like date night. Are we prioritizing, as Adam said, a time on the calendar for us to get out and invest in each other. I used to think if we were going out with a couple for a work thing, it was a date night because we were leaving the house without kids, right? And I had to be reminded that no, that is not investing in this relationship, right? Getting dressed up and taking her out. Conflict repair patterns. How do we navigate conflict? Division of labor. Like, are we clear on who's doing what around the house so that no one of us feels overburdened by taking things on ourselves? Sexual intimacy. What is our rhythm? Is it on the calendar? Are we in a season where we need to schedule it, or organically, is it just happening? Family meetings. Are we having family huddles? Spiritual connection. Most couples don't fail because they don't love each other. They fail because they don't have system. Love needs to be structured just like your business.
That's right. And we have questions you can ask. We'll send these to Dana over in the notes after she can send for you to be able to process this together. The third, just because we're trying to get through them in a timely manner, is your spouse's experience. So you know that there is a customer experience, and many of you who are leaders want to know what that experience is. You're not walking around with all your blind spots thinking, I know exactly how I'm being perceived. No, you have to ask them. And the same is true with your spouse's experience. Do you feel prioritized? These questions are going to help you know that. Do you feel known? Do you feel desired? Especially for many of you who are high capacity leaders. If your wife or husband is not, they know what it looks like for you to be all in. You cannot fake this with them. They know what it looks like when your gas is on. So you're going to have to help you see, do you have that experience in me?
Yeah.
Do you feel respected? Do you feel heard? So third is your spouse's experience.
That's right. Number 4 is marriage culture. Every company has a culture. It's spoken or unspoken, and so does your marriage. So the question is your culture critical or is it honoring? Is it defensive or is it safe? Is it playful or is it tense? I like to think of myself as a very fun-loving, easygoing guy that people love to be around, right? But Katie helps me see all too often that my tone can be kind of drill sergeant, kind of harsh, right? I'm not the playful guy that I think I am. Well, your marriage has a culture, and culture is not what you say you value. Culture is what you do repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
And so if sarcasm lives unchecked, if contempt is normalized, if apology seems rare, all of that stuff goes into shaping the culture of your marriage.
That's right. And the last one is vision and alignment. So we all need vision. In Habakkuk, it says to write down the vision, make it plain so that people can run. Well, your marriage is running a race. It is very difficult. And I love what Adam talked about discipline. It is the pattern of who you want to become. Well, many of us do not check in with our marriage to say, who are we becoming? Who are Josh and Katie in 3 years, in 5 years, in 15 years? So you have to get on the same page about vision. In our book, New Marriage, Same Couple, there's a whole chapter on vision and how to craft that, how to do a vision retreat, but you cannot neglect this idea of what are we building? What are we going after? Because then if you can give that person your why, there is so much you can endure together when you know where you're going.
That's right. Over the last 20 years, we've walked with dozens, if not hundreds of couples, and the marriages that we've seen unravel are seldom because of one dramatic event. More times than not, it's because time has passed and the relationship has eroded because these dashboards have gone unchecked. And so the great news, I've heard in psychology that awareness is curative, right? And just taking the time to review these dashboards, maybe add some others to your marriage, can help bring about the overhaul, can help bring the life, can help you step into the fullness of the marriage you've always wanted.
You all, oh my gosh, so great. Wait, one thing, Josh, I missed it. You said something about culture. It's not what you say, it's what you,
what you allow.
It's not, culture is not what you say you value, but is what is, culture is what is tolerated repeatedly.
Yes, that's it. Tolerated repeatedly. Oh my gosh, I love that. And it's so true what you said. It's almost like the gradually then suddenly thing, with relationships and marriages. This was great. I couldn't even type fast enough or write fast enough. So we'll get the questions and send out to everyone. But Adam and I are so grateful for you all. Thank you so much for all you do for us, all of our friends, the church, everybody. You all are so wonderful.
We are grateful for you.
All right. Congratulations. I know. So excited for you.
Thank you so much. See you soon. Thank you so much. Thank you. This is just like a family reunion. I love it. Okay, next up, Erin. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait, she's gone. Hold on. She'll pop back up. 1 second. Heather, do we have her? I saw her. She was pretty in pink. She's coming.
She's coming. Hold on just a second.
She's coming. You all, is this so good? Are you getting so much value out of this, by the way? I wish I could just.
There she is.
Wish we could have done an hour for everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Here she
Hello.
is. Erin, thank you so much. Okay, Erin necessarily doesn't need an introduction because I tell everyone Erin is the most probably followed Instagram queen in the world. She is like the Amazon influencer. Her home, as you can see behind her, is immaculate. We are in the same small group. She is a dear friend. She is my neighbor. She lives right down the street. And Erin, thank you for being on. I was so grateful for Erin to hop on and tell us how to be intentional with our homes, because you all, where you live, your space is so important, right? And I don't know anybody that does it better than Erin. So, hi, friend. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for having me. I told Dana on a side text, I was like, this might be your least. I'm not used to doing this. I'm used to just talking to a phone and being able to re-record. But like
great.
she said, my name is Erin. I am an influencer, and I would say most importantly, a mom of 4. And 10 years or so ago, I felt really passionate about sharing with other moms that you could both love your home and love your children. And I think that there's like a disconnect that you have to live amongst a mess to be a good mom, or that has to be your normal. And it couldn't be my normal. I could not handle that. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit today. I know probably not everyone here has kids, but for me, that's my reality. But whether you can apply this to your kids, to your spouse, I've had to apply a lot of this to my spouse. He's probably listening and he would agree. And even myself. So just some clear rules that we've used to keep our house running well. And I think the first and foremost thing to remind anyone in your house is that your home is a gift from God. And God calls us to take care of the things that we are blessed with. But I also remind my kids that they are also gifts from God and that I am called to take care of them. And my love of my home and them taking care of the home does not override that. So I think that that's a clear standard that the kids understand, which kind of goes into my number one thing that I think people that question if they can ever have an organized home need to understand is you have to have clear rules and clear spaces for something. You cannot expect the people in your home to maintain a space if you have not first created a space that is clear with where things go. If they are opening cabinets and they're like, oh, that might be where that goes, that's going to be their mentality, or they just might not put it away. So giving them clear rules, clear expectations. In our home, that looks like me going through and giving the kids a very clear system of how to organize their rooms and the playroom. I don't expect them to keep something organized that I have not yet organized. So when we've moved into this house, we've been in our current home for about 1.5 years, and it's taken me time to get to each kid's room. And I think they all very much enjoy the time before their room is touched. We went in order of age this time, and my youngest is just now getting the organization. And she's been living large. But it just stopped for her. But we have clear rules. And sometimes when it's not working, I've had to set in new rules. So right now that looks like I sound like a drill sergeant. And I also sound like I probably have toddlers, but my kids are 6 to 13. We have a clean room chart. Things were getting a little out of hand. And so I wanted to reward good behavior instead of constantly yelling at them to clean their room or clean their space. So there is a chart that hangs in our pantry, and it's either a yay or an A that your room was clean that morning. And on Friday, if you had a clean room every day, great, then you get to go out for a Slurpee or ice cream or whatever. And if you didn't, well, then stay home with mom. Like, I don't know. So that's been very helpful because it's just cut and dry. There is no negotiating. Oh, well, when they get home, it's like, no, we will check your room when you leave for school. It was either clean or not. And there's been a little bit of grace given. My youngest shoved a lot under her bed last week, and we made sure to remind her this weekend, Jesus loves you, so do I. But your bed, hiding under your bed is not cleaning it. And, so I think that giving them some understanding, but also having those clear rules and spaces for them to keep it maintained is a huge thing. I also think that something that I've had to remind myself when it comes to every single person in my house is that no one has the same capacity for maintaining a space nor feels the same way in an organized space that everyone else does. So, like I said, my kids are 13 to 6. My oldest is like kind of, he's a teen boy. He's just living. But my 11-year-old, she definitely is like me. She's very type A. She likes her room organized. So honestly, the expectations I have from the two of them are different with their rooms. I also am never going to hold my 6-year-old to the same expectation as myself. On that same note, I do have expectations for my husband to some degree. If I'm going to spend hours organizing the kitchen cabinets, I expect that he maintains that. But last I checked, there were like 36 golf balls in his nightstand, and I don't remember the last time he golfed. It's definitely been since before we moved to Charleston.
Poor Sam.
Which, like, he would laugh, but he's just not an organized person. That's none of my business. I don't need to get into his nightstand. So I think that understanding you can't be a drill sergeant, but treating your home as something that you are blessed with, I think always will help everyone to lead with the right foot and seeing it as the blessing it is, because it truly is. No matter what home you live in, it is such a blessing to have a home. It is such a blessing to have things to fill it with, and taking care of them is something we're called to do. And I think we're doing a good job leading by example with our kids doing that. I think having grace with that, making them understand that their home is to be like, my kids scooter through my house. I think people see my house and it's very like organized, and they think that my kids don't get to live here. My kids like live in this house, but we also don't have more than can be organized, and we keep it where it's easily maintained so that I'm not losing my mind and they're getting to have a great childhood. And that's been life-changing for us. And I love sharing that with other people. I love giving organization tips or just like hacks for maintaining your home with other people. It's been such like an inspiring part of my life, and I love doing it.
Well, you do an amazing job. I put this in the chat, but I feel like everything we have around our house now, I found from Erin. So every gadget, every organizing thing, every like our sugar and our flour and everything, she was so kind and made me labels for, like all the things. She knows what's the best. And she's not one of the influencers, y'all, that just share something to share something. Like if you don't really love it, you're not sharing it. And I so appreciate that. Yeah. Because we don't know now what's real and what's not. You know what I mean? And so it's
100%.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for you. Wait, okay, last thing before you go. This is so great. Thank you so much. I'm putting notes in the chat. What is your favorite, if you could pick like one favorite gadget or something you use the most?
I would say my number one, as far as organizing, probably clear acrylic drawers. I tell people all the time, if you want to catch the organization bug, the first space you should organize is under your kitchen sink, because I think that pretty much every one of you, if you don't have a system in place, would probably say like, yeah, every few months I have to like overhaul that, because it's just, there's too many hands that get in there all day, every day. There's too many little items that are constantly changing out because we run out of things a lot there. And if you utilize an organization system, I like the clear acrylic drawers stacked up under my sink. Under your sink, you will literally never have to reorganize that space ever again. And I think that when that clicks, it's the coolest feeling to realize you can give it a little bit of time, a little bit of money, and then never again. And that will forever change your trajectory, like how you look at organizing your home.
Yeah, it's so good. And gosh, I just feel like when under your kitchen sink is a mess, like everything else.
Everything's a mess.
I know. Well, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much,
Dana,
for taking the time so much. It was so great. And
Thank
we'll have
you.
to have you back make sure you guys go follow Erin. Yes, Nicole, so good, awesome. Thank you, thank you. Okay, you all, we are waiting on our next guest to pop on. We have Gabby Maddox Davis coming up next, and she, I believe, we're just waiting just a minute for her to pop on. So this will be nice. Let's just take a 1 minute breather. I feel like I need to take a breather. And then we'll pull Gabby up as soon as she is on. Let's just take a little quick 1 minute pause. Would love to hear in the chat some of your greatest takeaways that you've had so far. What stuck with you? As my husband says, what did you catch? And love to hear it in the chat while we wait for Gabby. Hopefully she's popping on. If not, we will move right along. Okay, we're gonna take a 1 minute break. I'm gonna turn on some music and we'll come right back. Okay, y'all. Oh my gosh, look at all the ahas in the chat. Thank you for doing that and giving me a potty break, which I needed desperately. Too much water today. Okay, I think, let's see. I don't know if Gabby, we might have lost Gabby, y'all. So we might move on. Mac, if you're on, would you want to pop on and come early? Oh, he is on. Oh, let's see if we can get him. Love the ahas, you all. There's no such thing as drifting in your destiny. Yep. Earn the harvest. Discipline is preparation for the life you want to live. Yes, so good. So good. Oh, there's Mac. Oh, wait, you're muted. Hold on.
I said, I'm just sitting here reading a new book and just sorry.
You're the best. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. You all meet my dear friend, Mac Lake. Oh my gosh. I could go on and on and on about Mac. How impactful he is and he and his wife, Cindy, truthfully, in Adam and I's life. And Mac, before you go, actually, we're going to get caught up and you're going to have extra 2 minutes, which will be great. Before we go, many of you all have heard on my podcast, on Lynn and I's podcast, that I'm following the growth plan workbook this year. And this is Mac's workbook, you all. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. If this is so good, Mac knows I love this, but you pick one area that you want to focus on for growth for 30 days and you have a whole plan in here. And then you're not squirreling around, like reading this book, listening to this podcast, listening to this in your studying this in your Bible, all the things. You're focused on one thing. And it is so good. So I had to do a shameless plug for my favorite growth plan workbook. But you all, I don't know anybody better to talk to us about leadership than Mac Lake. So Mac, thank you for doing this and for all that you do for me. I'm so grateful.
Oh my goodness, I'm tickled to death to be here. And I appreciate the opportunity so much. Hey, Dana, when my son Brandon, when he was 16, and you know Brandon, and when he was 16 years old, he worked at the Sonic up the road from you there in Mount Pleasant.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and he came home one day and he looked at me and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm going to quit my job." And I said, "Brandon, you've only been there 7 days. You don't even know where the bathrooms are yet. You can't quit your job." He said, "No, Dad," he said, "my boss is terrible. He's always in a bad mood. He cusses at us. He's always frustrated with us. He's mean." And he said, "So I'm going to quit." And I said, "No, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute. You cannot quit your job." He said, "Dad, why?" I said, "Brandon, you can't quit your job for 90 days. All right, you can quit. You can quit in 90 days. But I want you to work there for 90 days because I want you to know what it's like to work for a bad leader. Because once you work for a bad leader, you won't want to be a bad leader." And
So good.
yeah, so he said, "Okay." So Dana, he kept working. And it was about 3 weeks later, he gets a phone call from work. It's another high school kid that works there. And the kid says, "Hey, Brandon, boss told me to tell you, you're fired." That's how bad this guy was. He didn't even have the courage to fire Brandon himself. He outsourced it to a teenager. And so he really learned what it was to work for a bad boss. And one of my favorite questions I love to get leaders to wrestle with is, what is it like to be led by you? What is it like to be led by you? And have you ever noticed, and oh my gosh, this temptation is there all the time. When you're in leadership, have you noticed that it pulls the critic out of us? You know, when things aren't moving fast enough, when numbers aren't high enough, when projects aren't moving smooth enough, it pulls this critic out in you, and you become quick to criticize or correct, and you just don't encourage at all. And so over time, especially when things aren't going well, it's easier to see what's wrong with your team versus what's strong with your team. And so if I could give your audience one thing to focus on in being a leader that other people want to follow, it's speak life into people. Speak life into people. That one principle can change the trajectory of your leadership, because if you're not careful, you unknowingly become a critic, and you begin to damage the confidence and cohesion of your team because you're leading with the soul of a critic instead of a soul of an encourager. And there may be some people, and I've seen this too, where you may not have the soul of a critic, but you have the soul of a silent person. You're not sharing anything. You give no feedback, positive or negative. And I worked for a leader like that one time. And Dana, what I discovered is his silence created suspicion in my mind. I was wondering, am I doing, all employees ask this, am I doing a good job? Am I doing what they want me to? Am I hitting the targets they want me to hit? Am I doing things the way they want me to? And if you are met with silence, guess what? You fill in the blank. You begin to fill in the blanks. And people are not going to fill in those blanks in a positive way. Well, he must not think I'm doing a good job because he never tells me. And so we need to have the soul of an encourager. This is what I love about Jesus' leadership. Very first time he met this young man who was a teenager, he met a young man named Simon. He looked at this guy, Simon, and he said, "Hey, nice to meet you. But you know what, Simon? You're going to be called Peter, which means rock." Now, his brother Andrew was standing right beside him. He probably was laughing his head off. You don't know this kid. He is not a rock by any means. But here's the thing. Jesus was a rabbi. And whenever a rabbi gave somebody a new name, it wasn't a cute nickname. It wasn't like, "Hey, you got red hair, I'm going to call you Red." No, it was a prophetic way of speaking life into them and helping them see that a seed that God has deposited in them so they can see it and they can grow into it. Now, here's what I love about this. So Jesus looked at him and said, "You are going to be called Rock." He spoke it into him. And then over a period of 3 years, Jesus shaped it into him. And at a pivotal point in Jesus' public ministry, after working with Simon for 3 years, They're standing in this, I won't go into the details, but this very specific location and significant location. And he looks at his apostles and he says, "Who do you say that I am?" And Simon says, "You are the Messiah, the Son of God." It's for the first time Peter fully understood who Jesus was. He knew he was the Messiah, but he didn't understand he was God. And it clicked for him in that moment. And I love it because Jesus looked at him and said, this is 3 years after he said, "You will be called Simon." 3 years later, he looks at me and said, "Now you are Peter. Now you are Rock." And so he spoke it in, he saw it in him, he spoke it into him, he shaped it into him, and now he solidifies it in his soul that this is now true of you. And so it was an identity shaping moment for Simon, for Peter. It would mark him for the rest of his life. And this is something that so few leaders do. They don't intentionally, prophetically speak life into people, speak potential into people. And people need it so desperately. I was in Miami a few years ago, and this guy was speaking at a conference, and this guy picked me up. He was an executive pastor at a church. He picked me up. He hung out with me that evening, took me out to dinner, coffee, things like that. And so I had the best time with this guy. He was like 20 years older than me, and had the best time with him. And the next day, I'm standing up there and I'm speaking. In the middle of my talk, spontaneously, I looked out, I made eye contact with him. There's 200 people in the room. I make eye contact with him. I said, "You guys, let me tell y'all something about Dave. Dave took me to dinner last night. And for about 90 seconds, I just spoke life-giving words of encouragement. The strengths I saw in Dave, the passion I saw in Dave, the pastoral spirit I saw in Dave. His face was turning red, And then I went on, finished my talk. The senior pastor of that church walked on stage when I finished, and he looked at everybody and went, "Everybody, I was extremely uncomfortable when Max said that about Dave. Let me tell you why I was uncomfortable." He said, "I'm 65 years old, and nobody's ever spoken to me that way. And even worse," and Dave was about 68. "And even worse, Dave has worked for me for 12 years. And everything Max said about him is true, but not one time have I ever told him those things." I'm telling you, you begin to use life-giving words. It shapes the soul. It gives people greater confidence. It gives them deeper loyalty to you as the leader. When you put more into people, it will draw more out of people. And so I've just seen it again and again and again, but it's so rare for leaders to use this type of encouragement and drawing potential out of people. And so if you want to be a leader that other people love to follow, just wrestle with that question. What is it like to be led by me? Dana, I asked myself that question several years ago, and here's what I wrote down, okay? And everybody will have a different answer, but I want to encourage all your listeners to write down their answer to this question. So here's what I said. I want my employees to say, "Mac, because I work for you, I have a closer relationship with God. Mac, because I work for you, I'm consistently being challenged and growing in my leadership. Mac, because I work for you, I get to operate in the areas of my strengths. Because I work for you, I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. Mac, because I work for you, I know my voice is heard, understood, and valued. Because I work for you, I'm able to maintain a better life-work balance that benefits my family." That's what I want people to say about me. That's what I want it to be like, to be led by me. So how would you answer the question? What's it like to be led by you? What do you want your team to say? What do you want your friends to say? What do you want your family to say? What do you want your kids to say? Such an important question. And you know what? People will forget your words, but they will never forget what it feels like to be led by you.
Mac, oh my gosh, I couldn't even write fast enough. Sorry, I gave up on the chat because I was trying to write I was trying to write as fast as I could. Y'all have to go back in there and put it. Mac knows, some of y'all know this, but Mac spoke words into me recently, a few months ago, and someone in the audience was kind enough to video it. And Mac, I think I told you this, but I listen to it every morning, and I have needed it so much. So especially this coming Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. when I'm going to be leading something in front of 15,000 people. Yeah, but Mac, I needed it so bad. And so I am a proof, you all, of exactly what he is saying and how powerful it is. And Mac, I just have one quick question. There's so many nuggets in here. If someone is not used to that, is not used to speaking encouragement into people, like what is the one thing they can do to just maybe, like, what if they're, they're embarrassed, or they're like, they're going to think I'm weird or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what would be the one tip you would give them?
That's why so many people don't do this.
Yeah.
It's never been done to them. They've never done it. And Dana, when you do it, it's awkward because it's intimate. Whenever you are connecting soul to soul with somebody, it's a very intimate act. And a lot of people, so many leaders are uncomfortable with intimacy, therefore they avoid encouragement. And what they do is they do acknowledgement, but not encouragement. There's a difference between acknowledgement and encouragement. Acknowledgement is, hey, Dana, thanks for having me on today. Hey, the webinar was really, really good. Encouragement is, Dana, you have the soul of a giver. Every time I'm around you and every time I'm watching what you do, you are giving to others to add value to them. That is a unique gift. And you don't just do it out of obligation, you do it out of passion. And that is one of your superpowers, is you have a generosity. You have a generous spirit that adds value to others, and you do it so freely and effortlessly, you don't even know it's a strength that you have.
Wow. Well,
That's
thank
encouraging.
you, Mac. And did you all just see the difference between that? Wow. I mean
that. I wasn't just modeling it. I mean that. That's true of you. And so for somebody to learn to do that, they've never done it, then start small, take baby steps, get comfortable with it, start with the people you feel closest to and safest to, and then expand that out to those that you don't feel as comfortable with.
So good. I'm so grateful for you. Next time we got to talk Cindy into coming on next time too.
Yeah. Would love that.
She's got so much great stuff to share too. Mac, thank you. This was amazing. Thank you. You all go. Mac has so many books, and I saw you have a new book coming out that you're just
new book coming out March 16th, and it's called Super Multiplier. And Dana, I'm doing a workshop here in Charleston, a full day workshop on the book, April 24th. And we're opening.
Will you send me the info so I can send it out to everyone?
Yep, I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, and plus I need to be there, so please do.
Oh, would love to have you there. If you need to learn how to develop leaders that develop leaders. So the book is about how do you develop leaders that reproduce themselves so you go 4 generations deep. And everybody's going to leave that day with a documented, written plan for how they're going to reproduce themselves 4 levels.
Yeah. Love it. All right, we're on it. Send it to us and we'll get it out. Thank you, Mac, so much. Appreciate y'all so much. Okay, next up. Okay, we are a little bit back on track. You all, I'm so excited for you to get to hear from Nicole. And in true branding fashion, she has slides. And some of you all, it's going to make so happy. But I can't even tell you how many of you have commented on all of my new branding. And I would love to tell you that it was me. It is not. It was all Nicole. She is the best of the best. I'm so grateful for her. So grateful, Nicole. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Oh my gosh, what a room to be in. This is like crazy. Has my audio sound okay? I sound a little echoey.
Perfect. No,
okay,
you
awesome.
sound great to us. Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Tell us how
awesome.
to be intentional with branding.
Yes. Okay, let me go ahead and share here. Okay, can you guys all see my slides?
Yes, we got it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different talk than I've ever given before because my life has changed very dramatically over the past year. So I'm going to share a little bit about that, but we're not going to spend too much time because I'm going to have to talk faster than I ever have in my entire life. So we are going to just go ahead and get started here. Today, I want to talk to you about something that can feel uncomfortable in Christian leadership. personal branding. Because for some of us, that sounds like ego, but what if it's not about us? What if it is about stewardship, not so much about promotion? If you are called to lead, you are called to be seen. So I want to go show you guys how to do that in a different way today. So a little bit about me and why you should trust me in this is I have been working in the branding space for the past 15 years, but my life has changed very dramatically over the past year. I didn't meet Jesus until I was 35 years old, and I'm 40 now. And I have been living my entire adult life convinced that I didn't need him. I lived as an atheist for over 15 years. You can follow me on Instagram and learn more about that. I share more and more each day. But just a long story short, I had everything that looked right in the world. I had, I had gotten married. I put myself through college. I built businesses. I invested in real estate. I built a family. But internally, I was full of anxiety and restlessness, and I was exhausted. And I had all these systems for business and building brands for people, but I had no idea how to obtain peace in my own life. So here's a little snapshot of what my life used to look like. This is my big, cool, important life. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but essentially, met important people. I was in really spoke on stages that were important. I had a business podcast. I mean, you guys, I was super cool, right? Well, this is what my life looks like now. The Lord asked me to give him my business in 2025. So he called me back home. And there's nothing wrong with business. That's not what I'm saying. We're all business people here, and I still am in my own way. But what the Lord told me is that since I built my business upon a rock that was not him, and I served it so long as a master, that he was asking me to do something different with my life. So now I am a homeschool mom, you guys, and I do a little bit on the side, but for the most part, I spend a lot of time with my kids and relearning math. Okay, so, but I can rest in peace in knowing that I am doing it God's way. And when Dana asked me to speak today, I was like, I don't have anything to sell. For the first time in my life, I have nothing to sell these people. I don't want more clients. I don't have any worksheets. I don't have any downloads. I have no courses. I have nothing. But what the Lord told me when he was preparing this talk for you guys is that I have knowledge to give, and I have things that he instilled in me in my years of business that I can teach you guys how to brand yourselves in a way that honors him. So let's talk about personal branding. Why does personal branding matter? Well, people don't follow logos, they follow lives. Okay, so we all know that brands are trying to, you see these big businesses online and they're trying to have this humanization. They're trying to be people, but they're kind of not people. They're a brand, they're a business, they're a corporation. And as Christian leaders, our lives are already speaking because we're in leadership, yeah? Even if you're not in leadership, you are in leadership because you're working for the Lord. So the question is whether or not we're being intentional with the influence that God has given us. So people buy from people. You probably heard this before. We want to humanize ourselves. We want to be the forefront of the product, right? So personal brands, even with the huge businesses you see, you're going to see everywhere, Spanx, Sarah Blakely has become a bigger brand than Spanx. And we're seeing this over and over and over again in big brands trying to develop humanization. Corporate accounts get corporate reactions. So when you're posting on behalf of a big corporation, you're going to get engagement because people cannot relate to it. And the leader sets the tone. So if you're leading publicly, you're shaping your culture online and offline. So what I said about influence, it is so true with leadership. So I ask you, as people who I'm assuming most of the people in this room know Jesus because of Dana's book, I ask you, when you have the mic, who do you praise? Do you praise God, or do you talk about all of the people and the things and the striving that you did? And well, here's a couple people that I found that do praise God, and we're going to bust through these real quick, but they might be people you know. Okay, we've got Steph Curry. I'm having lots of broken links. I'm so sorry. Steph Curry has 58 million followers, and when he gets the mic, along with all these other sports guys, I'm not a sports guy, by the way. They're praising the Lord, and my kids see that, and it makes them bold. We've got Bethany Hamilton. You might know her for Soul Surfer. She's always been a big Christian. We've got Jelly Roll, who he won a Grammy and then got up and started talking about Jesus. Like what? And Ed Milet, he has a huge podcast with tons of people who do not believe the same way he does, and he gets to be the fruit in that room. We've got Candace Cameron. She did not start off Christian, and my 11-year-old boy and I watch Full House together. So we've been loving seeing her grow into more of a Christian brand. So why does sharing our faith matter? Well, hate to break it to you, but Jesus himself said, "Go and make disciples of all nations." We are called to influence. So how are we doing that? I hope that we are going out into the world and, having conversations with people on airplanes and, getting in rooms with people, small groups. I hope that we're doing all of those things. But the cool thing about the world we live in today, people, bash on social media, but it is the fastest way to get people your message as quickly as possible. And that's so cool, guys. If we can harness that and use it for the kingdom, I love that so much. There is power in your authentic testimony. So we need to all operate in our gifts and produce fruit. So what does being authentic mean? When I worked in branding, when I was sitting in the conference room with all these big brands, it's be authentic. And it's what does that actually mean? And and the lucky thing for us is that we have the Bible to go off of as our word. So being authentic according to the Bible is alignment between private and public identity. I love this because are we living in two different lanes, or are we crossing them? Because we should be the same person online as we are offline. We should be the same person in the boardroom as we are in our family, within a value system. I'm not going to talk to, someone in business the same way as my kids, but you get what I'm saying, right? Don't be two different people. Number 2, letting Christ be the hero in your story. We are not living unto ourselves. We are believers and daughters and sons of the Most High. Number 3, sharing struggles without glorifying sin. So we want to say where we came from and where we're at now without glorifying who we were. And number 4, remembering who you were in spite of who you're becoming. So kind of the same thing. So we want to make sure that we remember who we were. We remember who we're speaking to. We remember who follows us, but also we need to remember our testimony because our identity is in Christ. Now, how do I show that to the world? Well, lucky for you guys, I developed this framework I did not develop the framework. Literally, the Lord developed the framework. I did not develop it. As I'm saying, give glory to God. Okay, well, the vessel framework. So 2 Timothy says he will be a vessel for honorable use. What does that mean? How do I be a vessel for honorable use, Lord? We bring the living water, right? Okay, so we're going to break it down. Adam's going to love this. Vision is our V. What are you building that's not for sale? Okay, we don't want to develop a personal brand and then just go start talking about our product or service, right? We want to essentially show what we are building. And as believers, we're going to build what the Lord is building through us, right? So E, experience. What has God walked you through, right? Because we have stories to tell. We have experiences. We have a story. Here we go. S, where were you and where are you now? Struggle. What messy middle can you share? And I know that being someone in business, and I'm I don't want to tell people when I'm struggling, but you guys, that's what makes you relatable, and you are still an authority. You don't have to, it's okay for us to not be perfect, right? We're all still becoming. Evidence. What fruit has your obedience produced? And leadership. Who are you discipling through your content? And I love that. discipling. Who are you discipling through your content? And when we're in business mind, we're like, oh, people just follow me because of my business. They don't follow me to be discipled. Well, they don't know it yet. Okay, so we want to be set apart and ready for every good work. Go back and read 2 Timothy 2:21. It's so good. Okay, so closing thoughts. You don't need a bigger platform. You just need to be bold. You don't need to manufacture authority. You just need to be obedient. And the enemy wants to stop you from your calling. And if he can't do that, he's going to try to silence you and put that blah, blah, blah in your mind that makes you think that you cannot say what God has done in your life. So do not retreat because someone is waiting for your specific testimony. Okay, this has been like the verse that I've been standing on because I have felt scared in this season of my life. But we need to go and proclaim what he has done. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And that's 2 Timothy 1:7. So this is where you can find me. I don't have much on my website yet. Like I said, we're still in transition. I'm posting mostly on a personal account, which is just nshooty, and you can grab that. If you guys want a copy of my slides, just send me a DM at the nshooty account, and I would be happy to share slides because I was talking really fast.
You did so good, Nicole. Oh my gosh, you crushed it. Thank you so much. Nicole, y'all, she's really not lying too. I'm like, I have all these people that want to work with you. And she's like, yeah, I'm not taking anybody right now. I'm like, so good. So good. Thank you for all your help. And thank you for sharing this. It is very timely for many people. And I'm very grateful for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dana.
I did put it in the chat. So I did not know about the rebranded Instagram. So we'll add those. I just put your personal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Those are still works in progress.
Okay.
I'm just mostly posting on personal.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. You all are welcome to have any questions in the chat that you have for her. And as we close, thank you all so much for hanging on. And I guess I can't say I saved the best for last because that would defeat everyone else. However, I am very excited for us to close out on being intentional in your faith. And this is Adam and I's pastor, Joel Delf, and he is just an amazing person. So I could go on, and we are so grateful for him in our life. He pastors at Seacoast Church in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and he is going to give us a quick 10 minutes on how to be intentional in our faith. Joel, thank you so much. Welcome.
Hey guys, thank you, Dana. Thank you, Adam. Really pumped to be here today, and I really just want to wrap up everything that we've heard today with the opportunity to pray over you. But I just wanted to just bring you into this thought. The world is trying to weaponize your anger. Sometimes when we think about the presence of God falling on us, we think about how it gives us peace, love, joy, hope, wisdom, direction, but we often overlook the fact that there are moments when God brings us frustration, confusion, and maybe even holy anger. This morning I was hanging out with a student who's trying to figure out her life, and she asked me what are moments that changed my life. And I wanted to pull you into April 4th, 2010. I am brand new married. I got married the night before. We are in day one of our honeymoon in sunny San Diego, California. This is the place where I was born. I was raised up until the age of 10. I was excited to bring my brand new bride back to my hometown, and we went to this church that I absolutely loved on Easter Sunday, April 4th, 2010. So we're sitting in this church, the Rock Church in sunny San Diego. It's Easter Sunday, which is kind of like the Super Bowl of church. It's the biggest Sunday of the year. At this time, I'm not a pastor, I'm a banker, and I'm newly married. We're pumped for this service. And right before the first song is sung, like the last minute countdown, these two girls slide in the seats right in front of us. And it looks like they are getting ready to go to the beach. And they have their cover-ups on. You can see their swimsuits through their cover-ups. And in my head, not out loud, not to anyone, not to my brand new wife, I get frustrated. I get frustrated in my thought in my head. You don't judge people, but I judge people. you love everyone you see and you know, but for me, I judge people from time to time. And I'm judging these two girls, and I say to myself, why are they wearing that on Easter Sunday? Why are they wearing that? And I remember just judging them in that moment. Well, the service goes on, the music is great, it was an awesome day, and at the end of the service was powerful, the sermon was great. The pastor got up and said, if you want to begin a relationship with Jesus, I would love to pray for you, but on the count of 3, if you want to respond to the gospel, stand. And by this moment in the service, I'm so wrecked because it was great. I'm just locked in. And he says, 1, 2, 3. And the two girls in front of me at the same time stand, and they realized that they had stood at the same time. They face each other, and it's the first time I had seen their face. It's the first time I had seen their face. I was busy judging them the whole service, but I never really looked into their eyes. And I realized that the whole service they had been crying. There's mascara all down their face, on their shirt, and it was such a sweet moment. And in that moment was one of the first times in my life I felt like I heard the voice of God. And here's what the voice of God told me that day. I can't use you to reach people like that because you're too busy judging them. I can't reach you to reach people like that because you're too busy judging them. And in that moment, I realized that I had canceled out these girls with my frustration and my judgment because I thought I knew what they should have been doing. And that moment changed me forever, led me on a path where eventually I became a pastor. But I just want to put that in 2026 vernacular. The world wants to weaponize your anger, your frustration, and the enemy of our souls and the culture of this world wants to take these thoughts we have, put you in a side. Sides are fueled by agendas, and before you know it, you cannot hear the voice of God because you are owned by a certain political party. Come on, somebody. You are owned by a certain agenda, and then you just see us versus them, and you never see their face. We don't have much time today. This past weekend at Seacoast Church, I got to preach a message called The Anger That Comes From God. And it's kind of weird to think that anger could ever come from God in a healthy way. But there's a different pricking of your spirit when God fills you with zeal versus the anger that you feel in your heart. Our anger is oftentimes reactive and fueled by personal offense. That day I was offended that those girls weren't dressed up. Maybe this day you're offended that people don't vote your way or see the world the way you see it, or they like Bad Bunny and you think Kid Rock is better, or vice versa, whatever your thing is. But oftentimes our anger is reactive in response to something and is fueled by personal offense. Our anger makes us feel justified. And when we feel justified, we can push boundaries, we can hurt others, because when we believe we are on the side of right, it's easy to not look into the face of the other person. Our anger leaves us open to the enemy's system of division. There is a system in our world that weaves division, and it doesn't matter what side you're on. When there's power, oftentimes there is division. We battle not against flesh and blood, but we battle against principalities, rulers of this dark air. That's what it says in Ephesians chapter 6. But Jesus' zeal that comes from God, it's oftentimes directed by a connection with the heart of the Father. You see something that you have discord with, and it feels like it's coming from vertically versus around the world you see. And sometimes God will say, man, I think I'm calling you to help homeless people. I think I'm calling you to help women get fit again. I'm calling you to start a small group for men and pour into them. I'm calling you to start a business where people can be really successful and feed their families in a way that is filled with integrity. Sometimes there's that drop, and I'm convinced that many of us on this call today have felt that drop from God. The zeal that comes from Jesus It caused him to disrupt systems the world had grown used to. All throughout the ministry of Jesus, he saw things that no one else could see because he was connected by the Father, and the Father made him disrupt systems the world had been comfortable with. There was a moment when Jesus, the crowd, they were so amazed by him, they wanted to make him king by force, and he ran away from that. Think about that. He ran away from an election to be president, but he didn't run away from the pain of crucifixion. Why? Because he knew his purpose. And when we know our purpose, it oftentimes means we run away from the things that may even feel like they're good to walk in what is actually great from God. Last thing, Jesus' zeal led him to fight for restoration. And maybe the pricking you're feeling in your life, the holy discord, the frustration, when you walk it out with the hand of our Father, it leads you to build unity, peace, love, and restoration in a world that is divided and broken. And so think about this one thing. In what area of your life has God called you to build a bridge from his love to this world? And so as we wrap up today, I just want to take a moment to pray for you. You've heard so much great content today, but I pray that the Spirit of Almighty God will rest on you and that you will know that you are a big deal. He loves you. He's got great plans for you, but get out of your head with your frustration because the world wants to weaponize your anger. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for the gift of today. I thank you for my friends on this call. And I pray, Lord God, would you give them this understanding that you've built them for a purpose. Guide them today. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I believe Dana's put on the call my Instagram. And if there's something I can do to serve you, just let me know.
Joel, thank you so much. I also linked in you all. I'm not just saying this because he's on here. Last week's message, I've probably sent it at this point to at least 50 people. I don't even know how many. It will wreck you in an amazing way. And I can promise you that no matter what side you're on, and I don't know you all, I had to get off of Instagram last weekend because I was for 2 days because I just was like, everybody was driving me bonkers, Joel, honestly. I mean, and everything, it was too much. I said to Adam, it feels too heavy. Like it's just all too heavy. And so your message like hit, I mean, it was so good and I'm so grateful to you. So I linked that in the chat. And yes, please go follow him on Instagram. He is a joy and he is an encourager and he is very anointed and prophetic. And I'm so grateful. So thank you so much, Pastor Joel, for ending us. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being on. My texts have been blowing up. So I know you all got a lot of value from it. Thank you seriously from the bottom of my heart for supporting my book. It just means so much to me. So I am so grateful. Thank you. Thank you. God bless everyone. We will send the recordings. And I hope that you have an amazing rest of your week. And most of you I will see in Atlanta. A lot of you I will. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a great rest of your week. See you later.